The silent guardian. The vastness of space had never felt so oppressive. For 3 centuries, the Vexeri Imperium had stretched its taloned grip across 7 galactic sectors, subjugating dozens of species under their doctrine of superior evolution. Their massive warships, biomechanical monstrosities that seemed more living nightmares than vessels, patrolled trade routes and border regions with impunity. The message was clear. Resistance was not merely futile but inconceivable. Humanity had remained hidden on the fringes, having fled Earth centuries ago when resources dwindled. They established colonies in the shadows of dying stars and within asteroid belts too dense for conventional navigation. The diplomatic principle was simple: stay invisible, stay alive. For generations, it had worked. Until now. At Outpost Vexeri 12, Commander Drak Thal stood on the command deck of his patrol cruiser, mandibles clicking in mild irritation. The sensor operator had interrupted his rest cycle for what appeared to be space debris drifting toward their security perimeter. "Magnify," he ordered, yellow eyes narrowing at the holographic display. The image sharpened to reveal a vessel unlike any in their extensive database. It was sleek but clearly weathered, with smooth lines that suggested human design philosophy. Minimal, functional, without the biological integration that Vexeri technology favored. "Life signs," Drak Thal demanded. 1. The operator replied, confusion evident in his voice. "Human. But Commander, the energy readings, they're inconsistent, fluctuating in patterns I've never seen." Drak Thal's irritation transformed to interest. "Hail them." The communications officer sent the standard Vexeri greeting, a demand for identification followed by submission protocols. No response came. Again, Drak Thal commanded, a sense of unease creeping through his exoskeleton. Still nothing. "Prepare boarding teams," he decided. "I want that ship and its occupant." Inside the human vessel, its hull identifying it as the Nemesis, Captain Ilara Chen sat motionless in the command chair. Her eyes were closed, but she wasn't sleeping. Neural implants connected her consciousness directly to her ship's systems, feeding her information at speeds no display could match. Vexeri boarding parties preparing. The ship's AI reported in her mind. Their energy signatures indicate standard capture protocols. "Let them come." "Prometheus," she thought replied, the neural interface translating her intentions instantly. "Maintain passive observation mode." The Admiralty's orders were to avoid direct confrontation. Prometheus reminded her. A slight smile touched Ilara's lips. "And we will. Until we can't." The Vexeri boarding shuttle docked with practiced precision against the Nemesis's airlock. Commander Drak Thal personally led the team, his curiosity piqued by this strange encounter. They cut through the outer doors using molecular disruptors, standard Vexeri technology that should have sliced through any known material. It took 4 times longer than expected. "Unusual alloy composition," muttered the engineering specialist. "Some elements are shifting." Drak Thal dismissed the concern. The doors finally yielded, revealing a surprisingly spacious interior illuminated by soft blue lighting. The air was breathable, gravity Earth standard. "Find the human," he ordered. "Secure all data systems." His team spread through the ship, encountering no resistance. When they reached the bridge, they found Captain Chen sitting calmly in her chair, eyes now open and watching them with unsettling intensity. "Captain Ilara Chen, Earth Naval Intelligence." She introduced herself in perfect Vexeri. "You are boarding a sovereign vessel without permission. I suggest you withdraw." Drak Thal's mandibles clicked in amusement. A single human giving orders to the Vexeri Imperium. "Your species' arrogance is legendary, but this exceeds even those accounts." Ilara's expression remained neutral. "Not arrogance. Courtesy. This is your only warning." The commander laughed, a harsh, chittering sound. "Secure her," he ordered his soldiers. "Prepare for ship integration and data extraction." As the Vexeri soldiers approached, Ilara closed her eyes again. "Prometheus, Activate Defense Protocol Cerberus. The ship's lighting shifted from blue to a deep crimson. Before the Vexeri could react, microscopic particles in the air activated, hardening around their respiratory systems. They dropped to their knees, gasping. Nanite Defense System, Ilara explained conversationally as she stood. Non-lethal, but extremely uncomfortable. Your men will recover once you're back on your vessel. Commander Drakthul, struggling against the invisible assault, managed to activate his emergency beacon. You have declared war, he gasped. No, Ilara corrected, walking past the incapacitated soldiers toward the airlock. But you just might. Within hours, the Vexeri High Command received Drakthul's report. The response was immediate and overwhelming. A formal declaration of war was broadcast across all communication channels. The Imperium's propaganda portrayed the encounter as a vicious, unprovoked attack by human aggressors. What they didn't realize was that this had been the plan all along. For decades, humanity had prepared in secret. The Nemesis wasn't just a ship. It was a test platform for technologies developed by combining the scientific knowledge of 3 refugee species who had escaped Vexeri subjugation and found sanctuary with humans. As the Vexeri assembled a battle group to capture or destroy the lone human vessel, Ilara received her new orders directly through her neural link. Phase 1 complete. Admiral Harrison's message confirmed. You are authorized to proceed with Phase 2. Demonstrate our capabilities, but maintain the illusion of vulnerability. We need them committed before we reveal our full strength. Understood, Admiral, Ilara replied. The Nemesis is ready. The Vexeri battle group arrived with impressive efficiency. 5 cruisers and 12 support vessels forming a perfect containment formation around the seemingly helpless human ship. This is War Commander Zex Callum of the Vexeri Imperium. Boomed a transmission. Your species has violated our sovereign territory and attacked our personnel. Surrender your vessel or be destroyed. Ilara opened a channel. This is Captain Chen. I represent humanity's interests in this sector. Your forces boarded my ship without authorization. I defended my crew. Your crew. Our scans show only one life form, you. The war commander replied mockingly. Ilara smiled. Prometheus is as much my crew as any human would be. Unflattered, Captain, the AI commented privately. You have 30 seconds to power down your systems, Zex Callum concluded. War Commander, Ilara responded, her voice taking on a harder edge. I'm going to give you one opportunity to withdraw. Humanity has no interest in conflict with the Vexeri Imperium, but we will defend ourselves. The Vexeri commander's laughter echoed through the communication channel. Your threat is noted and dismissed. Open fire. 17 Vexeri vessels unleashed their weapons simultaneously. Plasma lances, graviton implosers, and molecular disruptors all focused on a single target. The energy release was visible across 2 star systems. When the sensory disruption cleared, the Nemesis remained intact. A faint, iridescent field shimmered around its hull. What is this? Zex Callum demanded. Phase-shifted defensive barrier, Ilara explained calmly. Your weapon's energy has been absorbed and redistributed, quite efficiently, I might add. The Vexeri commander's next order came instantly. All vessels, initiate quantum lock-on. Prepare simultaneous matter dissolution strikes. Prometheus, Ilara whispered. Show them what we can do. The Nemesis seemed to blur for a moment, as though reality itself couldn't quite maintain its grip on the vessel. Then it vanished. Where? Zex Callum began. The human ship reappeared directly behind the Vexeri command cruiser. Before defensive systems could react, the Nemesis emitted a directed pulse of energy that wasn't meant to destroy, merely disrupt. 5 Vexeri vessels suddenly found their systems rebooting, weapons offline. Dimensional shift complete, Prometheus reported. Their quantum targeting systems are temporarily disabled. For the next 11 minutes, the Nemesis conducted what could only be described as a demonstration. It appeared and disappeared seemingly at will, never firing a single destructive shot, but systematically disabling each Vexeri vessel's key systems. When it finally came to rest, floating serenely amid the disabled fleet, Ilara reopened communications. "War Commander," she said, "I want to be clear about something. We didn't disable your life support or your communication systems. We didn't destroy your vessels or harm your crews. We could have." Only static answered her. "The Vexeri Imperium has ruled through fear because no species had the technology to challenge you. That era has ended. Return to your high command with this message. Humanity does not seek war, but we are prepared for it. Any further aggression will be met with a proportional response." As the Nemesis prepared to depart, Ilara received one final transmission. "This isn't over, human," Zex Killam promised. "You've merely awakened the full might of the Imperium." Ilara nodded to herself. "I'm counting on it, War Commander." As the Nemesis vanished into faster-than-light travel, Ilara sent a single encrypted message back to Earth. "Phase 2 complete. The Vexeri have taken the bait." What the Imperium didn't realize was that the Nemesis wasn't a warship. It was a messenger, the herald of humanity's emergence from the shadows. And it carried a simple truth. The long-established hierarchy of the galaxy was about to change forever. The reckoning. News traveled faster than any ship. Within days, accounts of the confrontation between a single human vessel and an entire Vexeri battle group spread across 7 sectors. The details grew with each retelling. The human ship had phased through solid matter. It had predicted Vexeri tactics before they were implemented. It had absorbed energy weapons and redirected them. Most species dismissed these as exaggerations. The few who had suffered under Vexeri dominion for generations dared to hope. In the Grand Assembly Chamber of the Vexeri High Command, War Commander Zex Kellam faced his superiors. His exoskeleton bore the ceremonial markings of shame. Bright yellow stripes painted across his carapace. "Explain how one vessel disabled 17 of our finest ships without firing a single destructive shot," demanded High Executor Vex Morith, the ancient leader of the Imperium's military forces. "The technology is unlike anything in our records," Zex Killen replied, mandibles tight with humiliation. "Their defensive systems absorbed energy at quantum levels. Their propulsion allowed for micro-jumps through dimensional barriers we thought impenetrable." The High Executor's compound eyes narrowed. "And this is the work of humans, the refugee species that fled their dying world centuries ago." "Yes, Executor, but I believe they've had help. Some of the technology bears signatures similar to the Solrani and Phylaxian methodologies. Both species we subjugated decades ago." Science Minister Kilterra stepped forward. "If the humans have provided sanctuary to our former subjects and combined their scientific knowledge, then they represent a greater threat than anticipated," the High Executor finished. "War Commander, your failure will be remembered, but you will have the opportunity to rectify it. Assemble the Grand Fleet, every available warship and support vessel. We will find their hidden colonies and eradicate this threat before it spreads." Meanwhile, aboard the Nemesis, Captain Ilara Chen reviewed the data from their encounter. The ship hovered in a nebula 19 light-years from the battle site, close enough to monitor Vexeri communications, but sufficiently hidden by the cosmic dust. "They're mobilizing," Captain Prometheus reported. "Long-range sensors detect movement from all Vexeri fleet anchorages. Preliminary analysis suggests they're assembling a force of approximately 200 vessels." Ilara nodded, accessing the strategic simulation through her neural interface. Exactly as Admiral Harrison predicted. They're committing fully rather than investigating further. The psychology profile of the Vexeri leadership indicated a 92% probability of this response, the AI confirmed. Their evolutionary history as apex predators makes them prone to overwhelming force rather than cautious assessment when faced with an unknown threat. Ilara opened a secure channel to Earth's hidden military headquarters. "Admiral, Phase 2 objectives have been achieved. The Vexeri are mobilizing their Grand Fleet, Preliminary estimates suggest at least 200 vessels. Admiral Harrison's weathered face appeared on the view screen. Excellent work, Captain. The Solrani refugees have completed final calibrations on our defense grid. The Thalaxian engineers have activated their gravity manipulation systems around all colony worlds. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Sir, Ilara hesitated. Permission to speak freely? Always, Captain. There will be significant casualties. Even with our technological advantages, the scale of their attack force. The Admiral nodded gravely, which is why we need you to execute Phase 3 exactly as planned. If we can disable their command structure quickly enough, we can minimize losses on both sides. Understood, sir. Ilara paused again. Has there been any word from Outpost Sigma? The Admiral's expression softened with understanding. Nothing new, Captain. But if your brother is still alive in their labor camps, this operation represents his best chance of freedom. Ilara's face remained composed, but her eyes reflected determination forged through personal pain. Her brother, Marcus Chen, had been captured during a scientific expedition 3 years earlier. The Vexari practice of using prisoners for biological experimentation was well documented. The Nemesis will be ready, Admiral. Chen out. For the next 3 days, the Nemesis moved carefully through Vexari space, placing small, cloaked communication beacons at strategic locations. Each one was designed to look like space debris, but contained sophisticated technology developed by the Solrani, capable of intercepting, and when necessary, altering Vexari communications. On the 4th day, the Vexari Grand Fleet assembled at their central military hub, Dominion Prime. 217 warships arranged in concentric defensive formations around their massive command vessel, the Inevitable Conquest, a living ship 15 kilometers long, developed through centuries of biological engineering and cruel experimentation. High Executor Vex Morith addressed his assembled war leaders through their neural network. Today we exterminate an infestation before it spreads. Our intelligence has located the primary human colonies in the Vega sector. We will strike simultaneously at all 7 identified settlements. No survivors, no prisoners. The humans have sheltered our enemies and developed forbidden technologies. Their extinction will serve as a reminder to all species of the cost of defiance. As the Grand Fleet prepared to depart, an unexpected transmission cut across their secure channels, audio only, but clear and unmistakable. This is Captain Ilara Chen of Earth Naval Intelligence. I understand you're planning to attack our colonies. Before you embark on this course of action, I offer you one final opportunity to seek diplomatic resolution. The High Executor's rage manifested as a biochemical reaction visible across his exoskeleton. Bright pulses of red and orange. You dare address the Grand Fleet? Your insolence confirms the necessity of your extinction. Not insolence, Executor. Courtesy, Ilara replied calmly. We've studied your history extensively. Before the Vexari became conquerors, you were explorers and scientists. Your earliest writings speak of harmony with other species, not dominance over them. Weakness we outgrew, Vex Morith retorted. Where is your vessel hiding, human? I would see you before I order your species' extermination. The Nemesis decloaked directly above the Inevitable Conquest, seeming impossibly small against the massive flagship. Here I am, Ilara said simply. One ship, as before. Laughter echoed through the Vexari command network. Your demonstration against a small battle group was impressive, the High Executor acknowledged. But you now face the combined might of the Imperium. Your bravery is noted, but your judgment is flawed. Inside the Nemesis, Ilara closed her eyes, the neural interface linking her consciousness more deeply with Prometheus and the ship's systems. Executor, I'm not here to fight your fleet, she explained. I'm here to show you something. And what might that be? The truth about power. Prometheus, initiate Phase 3. Simultaneously, all the communication beacons the Nemesis had placed activated. But rather than disrupting communications, they began broadcasting data. thousands of files extracted from the Vexari's own secure networks. On every ship in the Grand Fleet, view screens displayed the same information. Detailed records of the Imperium's biological weapons programs, the genetic experiments conducted on prisoners, and most damning, evidence that the Vexari leadership had systematically sabotaged their own colonies to justify military expansion. "What is this?" a high executor demanded. "The truth," Ilara replied. "Being broadcast not just to your fleet, but to every inhabited system in all 7 sectors. The Solrani refugees helped us access your classified archives. The Thalaxians provided the quantum encryption technology to protect the transmission from being blocked." For the first time in recorded history, the high executor of the Vexari appeared speechless. Additionally, Ilara continued, "We've identified and contacted the labor camps where you've imprisoned scientists and leaders from 24 species, including my brother, Marcus Chen. They're being liberated as we speak by covert teams using the same phase technology you witnessed earlier." The high executor recovered his composure. "This changes nothing. You've merely accelerated your destruction. All ships, open fire on the human vessel." But as the order went out, something unexpected happened. 30 Vexari ships, those primarily staffed by conscripted soldiers from subjugated worlds, broke formation. Then 50 more. "It appears your crew loyalty isn't as absolute as you believed," Ilara observed. "When faced with the truth, many choose freedom over fear." The high executor's voice became a roar. "Remaining loyal vessels destroy the traitors along with the human ship." The Nemesis moved then, not away from the command ship, but directly toward it, accelerating to speeds that made it almost invisible. "Quantum breach in progress," Prometheus reported within Ilara's mind, targeting the flagship's central neural network. The human vessel phased partially into the massive Vexari flagship, not to destroy it, but to interface directly with its biological components. The Nemesis extended specialized probes into the living tissue of the command ship, injecting a modified version of the nanites previously used against the boarding party. Within seconds, the inevitable Conquest's weapon systems went offline. Its biological components entered a state similar to hibernation. "What have you done?" the high executor demanded. His connection to his ship's systems, suddenly severed. "Created an opportunity," Ilara answered. "Your flagship will recover in approximately 12 hours. By then, representatives from every species in this sector will have received our invitation to a diplomatic summit, including the Vexari." She paused, allowing her words to register. "Humanity doesn't want war, Executor. We never did. What we want is balance. The Vexari have much to offer the galaxy. Your scientific achievements, your architectural wonders, your art. But your belief in innate superiority has led you to atrocities that can no longer be hidden." The Nemesis disengaged from the flagship, moving to a safe distance as chaos consumed the Vexari fleet. Ships were either retreating or positioning themselves to protect the suddenly vulnerable command vessel. "This isn't victory," the high executor snarled. "This is merely postponement." "Perhaps," Ilara acknowledged. "But consider this, Executor. We disabled your flagship without destroying it. We accessed your most secure files without being detected. We're liberating your prisoners across dozens of worlds simultaneously, all with technology you've never seen before, all with a single ship." She let the implication hang in the silence. "Now imagine what we could do if we actually wanted to fight." The aftermath unfolded over months rather than days. The Vexari Imperium didn't fall. Structures of power rarely collapse instantly, but it transformed. The exposed atrocities led to internal revolts on Vexari worlds. The high command fractured between hardliners and reformists. Subject species claimed independence. And at the center of it all was the story of one ship, the Nemesis, that had changed the balance of power across 7 sectors without firing a single destructive shot. 6 months later, Captain Ilara Chen stood beside her brother Marcus in the observation lounge of Earth's primary diplomatic station. Through the viewport, they watched representatives from 28 species, including a Vexari delegation, arriving for the third round of the Galactic Concordat negotiations. "Did you ever imagine this?" Marcus asked, still thin from his time in the labor camps, but recovering steadily. Ilara smiled. "Not exactly like this, but we hoped. That's what the Nemesis Project was always about, hope disguised as deterrence." "And Prometheus, what happens to him now?" "He remains with the ship," Ilara replied. "They're mapping the boundary regions beyond Vexari space. There are reports of other empires out there, some potentially worse than the Vexari at their height. We'll need to be prepared." Marcus studied his sister's profile. "They'll tell stories about you, you know. The captain who faced down an empire." Ilara shook her head. "If they tell stories, I hope they're about all of us. The refugees who shared their knowledge, the engineers who built the ship, the diplomats who seized the opportunity for peace. One person doesn't change history." "No," Marcus agreed, "but sometimes one ship can." As if acknowledging the truth of his words, a flash of light caught their attention outside the viewport. The Nemesis appeared briefly, its hull gleaming in the light of the station's sun, before vanishing again into the depths of space, a silent guardian heading once more into the unknown.